Humanity did not discover faster than light travel through genius alone. It happened because someone, somewhere in the outer research ring of Jupiter Station, ignored 3 warning labels, rewired a power coupler backwards, and decided that the math felt right. The prototype drive was meant to bend spacetime gently, a controlled ripple that would shave weeks off interstellar travel. Instead, it folded reality like a sheet of paper and punched a hole straight through it. When the experimental vessel Wayfarer vanished, mission control assumed catastrophic failure. When it reappeared 43 seconds later, orbiting an unfamiliar red giant light-years beyond mapped space, panic swept through every human government simultaneously. What no one expected was what the Wayfarer had actually flown into. The ship's sensors screamed first. Gravitational traffic lanes crisscrossed the system like glowing scars. Massive orbital structures surrounded the star, each the size of a small moon and radiating energy signatures far beyond anything humanity had ever produced. Warships, hundreds of them, hung in layered formations, their hulls shaped not by aerodynamics but by intimidation. And then the transmission arrived. It did not come in radio, or laser, or anything humanity had prepared for. It arrived directly inside the ship's communication buffer, decoded as if the system had always known how to read it. Unregistered vessel, you have breached sovereign territory of the Kelladran Continuum. Power down immediately and await enforcement. The bridge went silent. Captain Mara Iqbal stared at the message, then at her crew. No one screamed, no one panicked. Lieutenant Harris finished sipping his coffee and frowned. "Captain," he said, "they didn't include a frequency to respond on." Mara sighed. Of course they didn't. The Wayfarer did not power down. Instead, it drifted calmly, its drive already cooling from the accidental jump. Automated systems began logging everything: spectral scans, energy profiles, hull compositions. The Kelladran Continuum had existed for over 30,000 years. It was an empire built on inevitability. Thousands of species had joined it, willingly or otherwise. Its fleets had ended civilizations that resisted. Its borders were enforced with mathematical precision and overwhelming force. Entire cultures had collapsed simply from realizing how insignificant they were in comparison. When an unknown ship appeared unannounced in the heart of a protected system, the response was immediate. 20 warships repositioned around the Wayfarer. Their weapons did not lock on, it was unnecessary. The energy bleed alone was enough to crush moons. The second message arrived. You will comply. You will be boarded. Resistance will be met with corrective force. Captain Iqbal muted the external channel and rubbed her temple. All right, she said, calm but tired. Let's not start a war on our first day outside the map. Prepare a response. Polite, honest. The translator hesitated, then constructed something close enough. This is the human exploration vessel Wayfarer. We appear to have entered your territory unintentionally. We are not hostile. We are, honestly, just as surprised as you are. There was a pause. On the Kelladran Command Carrier Dominion of Law, Supreme Overseer Threxel studied the data feed in silence. The ship was small, laughably so. Its hull composition was crude, layered alloys with visible modular seams. Its power output barely registered compared to even a patrol craft. And yet it had appeared inside a secure system without triggering any gate, corridor, or known transit method. That is impossible, Threxel said. Agreed, replied the Strategos. No known civilization outside the continuum possesses uncontrolled spatial breach technology. And yet, Threxel said, watching the human vessel drift serenely, they appear relaxed. That was the part no one could explain. The crew of the Wayfarer showed no signs of ritual submission, no frantic energy spikes, no attempts to flee, no coded distress calls flooding subspace. They were waiting. Boarding parties were dispatched. When Kelladran Marines entered the human ship, weapons raised, they expected fear. What they found was confusion. The humans stared at the Marines with curiosity rather than terror. One of them waved awkwardly. Hi, said an engineer, please don't touch that conduit, it shocks. The Marines froze. The airlock was clean but utilitarian, no religious iconography, no symbols of submission, no pheromonal fear markers. The humans smelled normal. Captain Iqbal stepped forward. I assume you're here to escort us somewhere, she said. Could you tell us if your floors are compatible with human gravity? We've had issues before. The Marines did not answer. They escorted the humans to the Continuum's central diplomatic nexus, a construct so vast it distorted local spacetime. Delegations from 100 species gathered to witness the newcomers. This was meant to be a moment of dominance. It did not go as planned. The humans did not kneel. They did not avert their eyes. They looked around, impressed but not overwhelmed. They whispered to each other, pointing out architectural features, energy flows, and inefficiencies. One human asked if the lighting was decorative or structural. Supreme Overseer Threxel addressed them from a towering dais. "You stand before the Keladran Continuum," he intoned, "an empire older than your species, an authority unchallenged. Your arrival violates sacred boundary law. Explain yourselves." Captain Iqbal stepped forward. "We were testing a prototype," she said simply. "It went wrong, or right, depends how you look at it." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. "You possess no jump gates," Threxel said, "no mapped corridors, no authorization." "Correct," Mara said, "we didn't know any of this existed." Silence followed. "You crossed 37 regulated territories." "Yes. Without detection." "Apparently." Threxel leaned forward. "Do you understand the implications of this?" Mara shrugged slightly. "We understand we messed up. We'd like to fix it, preferably without anyone shooting anyone." The translators struggled with the casual tone. An elder delegate from a conquered species whispered, "Why are they not afraid?" The answer came slowly, through observation rather than words. Humans had grown up alone. For all their history, they had believed the universe was empty or hostile. They had survived extinction events, planetary catastrophes, internal wars, and the quiet terror of cosmic isolation. They did not measure themselves against empires. They measured themselves against impossible problems. And this was just another one. When the Continuum demanded technological surrender, the humans asked why. When threatened with annihilation, they asked for probability estimates. When shown a projection of the Empire's full military might, one human quietly calculated how long it would take to map it. "You don't understand," Threxel said at last. "You are insignificant." Lieutenant Harris frowned. "With respect," he said, "we were insignificant when we first looked at the ocean too, then we built boats." A junior analyst interrupted the chamber with urgency. "Overseer," they said, "our sensors are detecting spatial anomalies, human design, small scale, repeating." Threxel turned sharply. "What does that mean?" The analyst hesitated. "They're experimenting, using the same flawed principles that brought them here." Mara smiled apologetically. "While we're waiting," she said, "our engineers are trying to make sure this doesn't happen again, or, happen on purpose." Panic rippled through the assembled species. A civilization that accidentally broke into the heart of an empire was now learning how to do it deliberately. Within weeks, human scientists were exchanging data with stunned Continuum researchers. Within months, joint task forces were rewriting physics textbooks. Humans did not conquer. They collaborated. They asked uncomfortable questions. They ignored traditions that made no sense. They built redundancies where others relied on fear. And when a rival empire attempted to exploit the situation, launching an incursion into Continuum space through routes humans had revealed unintentionally, it was humanity that responded first. Not with fleets. With logistics. Supply chains collapsed, communication networks unraveled, enemy warships found themselves stranded without fuel, without data, without understanding how it had happened. The Continuum watched as humans dismantled an invasion without firing a shot. Supreme Overseer Threxel stood beside Captain Iqbal on a viewing platform weeks later. "You remain unfazed," he said, "even now." Mara looked out at the stars. "We didn't come looking for an empire," she said. "We came looking for answers. You just happened to be in the way." Threxel considered this. "Do you know what you are?" he asked. Mara smiled faintly. "Yeah," she said, "we're the species that makes mistakes, and then refuses to panic about them." The galaxy adjusted accordingly.